Let the Sea Worlds attack. This is Iron Man Annual 10 from 1989. Guest starring Seaman. This is part of Marvel's 1989 crossover SeaWorld Attacks. This is Chapter 2 of it, and like much of SeaWorld Attacks, it's not great. Our main story is written by David Michelinie, with artwork by Hotwater Comedy's very own Paul Smith. How are you? What do you do for a living? When is the baby due? And we start things off with some SeaWorld Attacks mythology. Desard and Ursula manipulate Ocean Master into attacking the surface world. Unbeknownst to him, Desard and Ursula, they are intending him to fail in conquest. And all the dead seamen are going to act as a blood sacrifice to restore Set the Elder God, the evil seven-headed serpent, to Earth. The story is called SeaWorld Attacks, and SeaWorld Attacking is a distraction. It's a feint. There is 2 issues of the 14-part crossover that actually live up to the title SeaWorld Attacks. The Avengers one, which is god-awful, and the Fantastic Force one, which is... No, the Web of Spider-Man one. It guest stars Fantastic Force prominently. That is why I confused them. That one is the only one I would consider makes good on the promise of the crossover's title. That's not to criticise the actual story. The story is rich and layered, and it could be good. Look at What If issue 25 for evidence of that. But they named it SeaWorld Attacks, and SeaWorld are barely a presence. That would be one of many reasons that people don't like it. They hear the name SeaWorld Attacks, and they think of the obvious. They assume, they expect a story about SeaWorld attacking. But then they pick up a Daredevil annual or a Punisher annual, and SeaWorld aren't even in it. Instead, it is a very complicated Shaggy Dog story villain plot with all sorts of random pulls from continuity. I like this bit. Ursula, well, there is a nameless seaman. He gets a bit aggressive with Ursula, and Ursula likes it. And she suggests he come find her and discuss matters privately. I'm hopeful she moondragoned him. Here is Iron Man. He is trawling the sea and pursuing some mafia submarines. Weirdly, Iron Man doesn't wear his hydro armour for this. It would seem a very clear and apparent excuse to cut that out, or come up with a new, upgraded version. Up front, I want to say David Michelinie doesn't want to be writing SeaWorld Attacks. So we actually have a very dense Iron Man plotline on top of the already heavy SeaWorld Attacks stuff. It's this issue, by the way, this issue that is setting up SeaWorld Attacking. That scene you just saw, that is essential to the plot of the crossover. Iron Man is tracking the Mafia, and then both Seaman and Hydra get drawn into it. I'll start with Seaman. Seaman is currently searching all over the seas for his children that he had with Atlan from Alpha Strike. Atlan died, but in death, she had laid some eggs. Spawn that are actually destined to decimate Earth. But Seaman feels far more compelled to find them because Atlan was his child bride. This is a loose end that will remain forever loose. We are dealing with the Mafia having some connection to Hydra, and Hydra are in control of a ship, and the two heroes happen to be around. The Hydra ship does a suicide self-destruction, leaving Iron Man and Seaman with many unanswered questions. But also, Ocean Master is planning to begin SeaWorld's attack on the surface world. This one is definitely biting off more than it can chew. And the pacing of the story is bad. Although I really like this comedy bit here where Seaman is talking to Iron Man's secretary, Bambi Arbogast. She asks him if he has an appointment, to which he declares, "I am the Avenging Son. Appointments mean nothing to me." The problem I am having here is that there is some at every page I feel the need to explain. Robert Downton Abbey Jr. is in a wheelie chair. He was shot by a crazy sexpot woman. Fucking moron. She's hot enough, you let her be crazy. And he is meant to be a ladies' man. The crippled Robert Downton Abbey Jr., he puts on the Iron Man armour, which restores mobility to his legs. But now he is spending all his time as Iron Man, because he doesn't want to be the weak, disabled Robert Downton Abbey Jr. He is avoiding coming to terms with his injury. And that is a very interesting plotline and character arc, and he is just magically cured by science. I thought I would be barking and howling about how David Michelinie did dirty to Rhodey Rhodes, but he's only on these pages, so it's completely not worth it. Iron Man and Seaman, even their team up, isn't handled that well. They spend most of the actual team up not together. This is one of the few pages where they are actually properly working together. They go off and do their own thing straight away. This team up, Iron Man and Seaman, has always been a classic pairing. They go back to the Silver Age. I never quite got entirely why they were put together so often. They are usually teaming up or are at odds with each other, and it is a consistent. David Michelinie has even gone to that well before. Iron Man and Seaman, he's done that story. So putting them together in SeaWorld attacks makes some sense. But then, they're not really working together for most of it. Iron Man, he investigates a Hydra base by himself. And then, this took me by surprise a bit. He very coldly murders the Hydra leader. I know Iron Man has never had the strict no-kill policy of a lot of the other heroes, but seeing him outright kill someone in cold blood feels improper. I was always told that him murdering people in the cross-dressing was meant to be very out of character and that it needed to be retconned away with Space Pantsmen. This story is trying to do far too much and not really succeeding at any of it. The big problem is the structure. We got Iron Man and Seaman in a position to have this main part of the story happen by about page 5. Everything between then and now has been irrelevant padding, and the result is our big action piece and our ending twists feel like whimpers. We have a 3-way battle between heroes, Hydra, and Seamen. We don't have backgrounds for about 91% of the art in this story either. This sequence is too drowned out by the earlier meandering. It would require a bit more deliberate phrasing, but There's a pun there, drowned out when you're talking about SeaWorld attacks. The worst offence is right at the end on the final page. Seaman dies. He dies in an explosion. See that tiny panel of an explosion? That is meant to be the death of Seaman. Completely poor pacing for drama. And Seaman is fine. It is a fake out. Well, the idea was that we were meant to think he was actually dead. In Avengers, there's a scene that continues on from this with Iron Man telling Captain America and the original Human Fire and Big Barda that Seaman is dead. That actually gets across that Seaman has died and that his death is important more than the fucking death itself. Then we have backup features. The first one is basically pin-ups with a loose story framework. And this one makes Iron Man fighting Seamen look better than the main story did. Our idea is baddies in a bar talking about their fights with Iron Man. Here is Jean Coleman doing Aluminium Man and R-Face. This is Tales to Suspend 93. Then we have Jason Byrne recreating the Avengers, battling Space Pants Man. This is Avengers issue 2, obviously. Then we have Neil Pollard, and I don't know when or what this is. Silver Age Iron Man isn't one of my strong suits. This, however, is Bob Layman and Iron Man 218. The first appearance, and I think the only major appearance, of his hydro armour. The next one threw me because I couldn't find a signature anywhere, so I didn't know who did it. I would maybe assume Bob Layman. This is Iron Man 224, clearly. Then we have more Armour Wars. This is the exact moment when you should stop reading Armour Wars, because it has a crap ending. Iron Man issue 229. And our final one is, I think, possibly an original one. Iron Man saving a woman from jumping off a building. And I think the art is Butcher Jackson. But there's again no signature. Then we have what might be the most unusual and out there backup feature for an Iron Man annual. This is a story starring Cena, Warrior Princess. She has no connection to Iron Man. She has never even met Iron Man. I don't know why they put this here. Cena is one of Peter Gilbert's Defenders characters. Unlike the others, she has a bit more life in her, down to her usage in SeaWorld attacks. The Extra Factor annual, which features her in the main story. That would have been a wiser place to stick this one. This is Marvel Comics Presents Spillage, though. Make no mistake. It is an 8-pager starring a minor character written by Fabio Nicieza. It doesn't actually tie in or connect to SeaWorld Attacks, but it feels like it does because it is in a SeaWorld Attacks annual. We do actually establish some backstory for Cena. We learn that she is Ocean Master's unwanted daughter, hence the horrific story title, There Are No Wire Hangers Underwater. I think if you had put this story elsewhere, I could have been fooled into thinking this wasn't what it is. Take my word for it, this was commissioned for Marvel Comics Presents. We have a portfolio of Butcher Jackson and Bob Layman pin-ups. I don't have much to say about any of them. I like Butcher Jackson's art, and he was the regular artist on Iron Man at the time. And we have Bob Layman art too. There's one with Casper. What you are all excited for is the Saga of the Serpent art. This is part 2. Part 1 having appeared in Silver Surfman Annual 2. We are seeing the influence of the Elder Gods on the earliest life forms on Earth. Set is asserting bestial dominance over the dinosaurs. Set and Mother Nature waged war. Set wanted to retain his grip over Earth with the dinosaurs, while Mother Nature wanted evolution to run its course, and for mammals to emerge as the dominant species. The god who lives in the sun comes down and battles Seth. And it is a very big battle that is quickly shown on one page, with Seth being banished to another dimension and Mother Nature and the mammals won out. As much as I might try to argue that SeaWorld Attacks could be good, I don't think it is. I don't have much respect for writers who agree to write part of a crossover like this, but then resent having to do so, or try their hardest to do as little of what is required. We have a giant plot development in this, Seaman's death, and it is an afterthought to the story. That's why I sink this a 7 thumbs up.